So you say that what I'm hearing is a bit of a suit of armor, a bit of a mask, right? I mean, ego is, philosophically what you're talking about, that we have this expectation that we're supposed to be a certain way. And ego is not necessarily bad, but if the ego is a mask, uh, do you find that that's what women are going through? Is that I'm supposed to be the great wife? I'm supposed to be, by the way, the boss bitch. By the way, like, I find that some of these expectations, inspiring that they may be, just put a bunch of pressure on people to, by the way,
Yeah.
you need to look good and be elegant and you need to be all these things and be the great mom too. And by the way, go to Costco and fix all the stuff. Like, I feel like it's just, it's not one costume. It's costume after
Mhm.
costume after costume. So is that what you're seeing generally? Is that kind of stuff?
I think you just nailed it in the sense that I think we did ourselves a disservice like in 2010 to 2020, almost until the pandemic, where it's like that badge of honor is that we can do it all at all times. And we never show a break. And if we do, we show it internally. And that's just like really lonely. And it's not true for anyone. And if they're telling you they have it together at all times, it's just completely wrong. So I think it's that unification, not to focus on the bad, but just to understand that like life can be difficult. And if we pretend that it's not, it's a really lonely place. And we've advanced so much as women that to continue to advance, we need to talk, we need to communicate, we need to sometimes commiserate, we need to celebrate each other's successes. And those successes are far greater when we understand that the path wasn't easy. And we need to create a genuine, non-Instagram worthy community of people cheering each other on, because the path is difficult, and it's far more difficult when you feel that you're alone or that you always have to project that it's perfect.
Catherine, tell me about that part. Tell me about the part that this expectation thing, the notion that I'm not alone. I mean, you two have found each other, so now you're not alone, and now you're sharing that with other people. Catherine, how's it changed you to know that you're not alone?
Yeah, well, so yes, I'm definitely lucky to have Jen because we're a great business duo. We bring different things to the table, and we complement each other in that way. Jen and I are also really fortunate to both, frankly, be married to great guys. I mean, we lucked out. I always think, you kind of choose who you marry, but you don't necessarily know what you're getting. And we both really lucked out because, to Jen's point about the a consistent theme through a lot of our interviews is that women are saying that they had that cheerleader, and oftentimes that is a spouse or a partner. We have that in our own relationships as well. But we've also been very careful as we've gotten older to build communities around ourselves that we know we can trust. And sometimes that's, one or two people, sometimes that's 10 people. But I think the thing to keep in mind also is that it's important to be true to yourself. I knew early on when I was starting my own business after my last contract in television ended that my key goal is that when I looked back on my life, I wanted to have made every decision I possibly could that allowed me to spend time with my children. And so I structured a workplace around that, and I was very clear to clients that I was available between 9 and 3 because my kids' bus left at 8:30 and it came back at 3, and that was my day. If they didn't want to work with that, then that was okay. We probably weren't a good fit anyways. It's a question of knowing what your priorities are and being okay to stick to them no matter what other people say. That's the other thing that we really try to get through to women. It's okay to have your own standards and they don't have to be someone else's.
I love that you said standards and not boundaries, because boundaries are a bit of a, they can sometimes, for people who maybe aren't ready to look at it, they can just be a wall around your life, and that also keeps out the good. And we have to be really careful that when we talk about these things. Jen, how do you maintain standards in your own version of that same story?
I think my mom like drilled in high standards into me. No, I think standards is a great word because I think it's what's your standard for yourself in terms of how you conduct yourself as a person. What's your standard, to Catherine's point, for your family life? What's your standard professionally? And another common thread, I like how you have us thinking about this, is the women that we've spoken to have heightened their standards over time through these lessons learned. And they now are so disciplined, not in the sense of like going to the gym at 5 a.m., but so disciplined in how they spend their energy, what they want to contribute, what they want their legacy to be. And to Catherine's point, that's so different for everybody. And I think for so long we were told legacy is, the pinnacle of your career. It's a happy marriage. It's, your children look a certain way in the Christmas card. And it's really now let's just redefine it for what works for you. And that may be being home every day. That may be being a CEO. It may mean, being actively involved in your community. And there isn't a right or wrong way to achieve that.